Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Night Sports Arena here at Southern Virginia University. I'm Jim Bresnahan. I'm joined by Tom Peterson, and we're ready to bring you women's volleyball tonight, a key matchup in the Capital Athletic Conference for the Southern Virginia women as they get ready to take on St. Mary's, the Seahawks of St. Mary's. St. Mary's comes in with a record of 3-2 in the conference, and they are 18-9 overall in the season. The Knights are 2-3 in the conference, Tom, 6-12 overall on the season, but the Knights have won 3 of their last 4. In their last 2 victories, they've been able to sweep those matches, winning all 3 sets, and they're on a roll right now.
They are on a roll. In speaking with the coaches, they think that they're playing very well right now. And this is an important match they have tonight. If they win tonight, they have a very good shot of going to the playoffs, being in the conference. They take 6 teams to the playoffs, and this is an important match.
So, again, as Tom mentioned, the top 6 teams in the Capital Conference will make the conference tournament. And right now, the top teams are Mary Washington, Salisbury, Marymount, Christopher Newport, St. Mary's, and York in that order, with the Knights right on the outside looking in. The Knights are 2-3 in the conference. York's 3-3. St. Mary's is 3-2. So, for instance, if the Knights were to beat St. Mary's tonight, those 2 teams would be tied at 3-3. But if St. Mary's wins, then the Knights are 2 games behind St. Mary's. So, needless to say, it is not do or die tonight, but it is extremely important for the Knights to win.
Yeah, if they want to overtake St. Mary's, this is an important match, of course, for that. But St. Mary's does have a tougher schedule going down the wire. So maybe it's not a must-win, but if they do win, they have a very good feeling they'll make it to the playoffs, the Knights.
Yeah, the Knights will be playing Marymount tomorrow. Marymount's 4-1 in the conference, as we mentioned. And then at the very end of the season, as you mentioned, Tom, 2 more conference matches after that. One would be against Salisbury, who is second in the conference at 5-1. The other one would be against Wesley, who's right now in the basement of the conference at 0-6. So if you're figuring that maybe a split that last weekend against Salisbury and Wesley, and maybe a split this weekend, that maybe 2 out of the 4 can get you in. Certainly, if the Knights could win today and win against Marymount on Saturday here at home, win their 2 remaining home matches in the Capital Conference, they would have a very good shot of getting in.
Yeah, you would think they would, and that's a neat feeling if you're a coach, of course. But it's such a great thing for Southern Virginia. They're just getting better at the right time too. They're kind of a hot team currently, but for the future they have no seniors on the team, so it's impressive.
We also want to make mention of Southern Virginia University's new official gear website, gear.svu.edu. It's the newest and best source for all official Southern Virginia University gear. All orders shipped within 24 hours guaranteed. You can look for casual wear, tailgating equipment, office supplies, hunting, infant clothing, you name it, and they've got it. Again, that is at the website gear.svu.edu. And we are ready to go here at the Night Sports Arena with the Seahawks serving to get this match underway in the first set. Weak hit there by the Seahawks. Now the Knights will try it. And a miss hit by Tiggs.
Yeah, just a roll shot into the net. Sometimes you just got to give it to the other team and see what they can do with it and just get ready to block.
Homecoming weekend here at Southern Virginia University. Football tomorrow against William Patterson at 1 o'clock. Soccer is on the road this weekend, but as we mentioned, women's volleyball, 5 o'clock tomorrow against Marymount. Knights trying to win here today, though. Down 1-0 in this opening set. Good save there by Hosier. And a good kill shot there by Emma Evans, the junior, the 5'11 junior from Reston, Virginia.
If you notice that was not that was a middle shot, but she was not next to the setter, and that was an impressive shoot, we could call that.
All red serving here for the Knights, all tied at 1. Nice dig there by Crockett.
There's a better shot by the lefty.
And that one out by St. Mary's, and the Knights take a 2-1 lead here in the opening set.
Maybe just a little bit nervous to start the first few points. Not good swings, maybe easy swings, but that last one was a good swing by Tiggs.
Well, so important, Tom, to, as you mentioned, get off to a good start, win that opening set, really put the other team in the hole right off the bat.
Yeah, it's all about momentum. You always want to have that first game momentum.
And there is Gwynn with the kill. after a pretty good serve by Allred.
Yeah, Allred is one of the best servers on the team, and it sure helps if you have an overpass and someone there to kill it.
Nice serve again by Allred. Little tip shot, though, by St. Mary's works, as that was Bridget Morris, a 6-foot junior. She perfectly placed that shot. So now 3-2, Knights still leading here by 1 as St. Mary's serves. Set for Tiggs.
Very nice
she
shot.
Got it.
Yeah, she hit it down the line. That's the advantage of a left-hander on the right side of the court. It's very easy to just hit it down the line and hard to block.
And now Evans will serve for the Knights, who lead 4-2 now. Little tip shot again by St. Mary's works. That was Hannah Krause, the 6'1 sophomore from Maryland, who got it to go, and it's now 4-3.
Interesting to watch to see if that's a tendency is to throw the ball from the middle of the court, not just hit it, but throw it. Sometimes you can throw it or tip it, but if you do that fast enough, the referee doesn't call it a throw, and if you can direct it, it's hard to dig.
Service by the Seahawks. 4-3 your score. Gwynn with a nice tip shot down the line. Nice save there by Crockett. Allred sets up Crockett back over. Little tip, and Crockett couldn't get to it. Another tip shot by St. Mary's evens this first set at 4-all. St. Mary's liking the tip shot here in the opening set. All even at 4. Here is Gwynn, blocked by St. Mary's. They get the point.
Even though that was blocked, that was a good hard swing by Gwynn. If she just hits it a little bit higher, then she can hit it off their hands.
5-4. Seahawks on top by 1 now. Here's Tiggs. Good save by St. Mary's. They get it back. No, hit the net and came right back.
Again, another example of just sometimes you just need to get the ball in the court. You're probably not going to get a kill on it, so make sure it's in.
And the Knights will substitute here with Abigail Hartle, freshman from Roosevelt, Utah, checking in for the service.
Now, this is a little bit different lineup than what the Knights have had before. This is a new setter. They're setting a 6-2, which means there are 2 setters in the game. They're never in at the same time, but this is a new setter with 3 hitters in the front row still.
And Hartle's service is across. St. Mary's blocked by the Knights. They couldn't reach it after blocking it at the net, and it's a point for the Seahawks. And we mentioned that Southern Virginia University new official gear website again. That is gear.svu.edu. Newest and best source for all official university gear. All orders are shipped within 24 hours guaranteed, and a number of products at that website, including casual wear, tailgating equipment, office supplies, hunting, infant clothing, and so much more. Again, that is gear.svu.edu. 6-5 is your score. St. Mary's with a 1-point edge here in the opening set and serving. Carissa Hill serving for the Seahawks. And a kill shot. Looks like we're going to have a violation.
Yeah, the Knights into the net. But that was an impressive swing by St. Mary's.
I think that was Felkins who got into the net a little bit. 7-5. St. Mary's on top here by 2 now. Gwynn will get it back. Tip it. Now St. Mary's will set it up. Saved by Hosier. Gwynn is blocked. It's across though. Tipped again. Saved by Hosier. Good point going on here. Knights get the block. It's set up though, and Hartle gets it over to Allred, who gets it back across. Point goes to the Knights. We had a violation, I believe, either that or a double hit.
I think he called the setter into the net on that one.
So it's 7-6 now. And the Knights are within 1. Close set here in this opening set. Neither team's had more than a 2-point lead. Knights will set up, and it goes to Starkey, and then back, and the Knights get the point to tie it at 7-7. Right now they're going with the front line of Starkey, Felkins, and Allred. Seven is your score. Nice save there by Gwynn. Tipped over. Now the Knights can set it up here. It goes to Felkins, and she is able to get her kill shot in. And now the Knights have retaken the lead here at 8-7. Alexandria Felkins, the 6-foot freshman from Spring, Texas. Now Gwynn will serve here for the Knights with a 1-point lead for Southern Virginia. And Gwynn couldn't get it across the net.
An example of not ending the rally again, of course, with your own service error.
And as you've stressed time and time again, Tom, so important to keep it in play. Put it in play and keep it in play. Now Megan Griffiths will serve for St. Mary's. All tied at 8. They set up Allred, and she gets her spike to go. We talked about her kills maybe being down the last few matches, and not sure if that's a health thing or if maybe she's being double teamed so much that the Knights are perhaps forced to look other ways. And of course, they've got a lot of folks out there on the front line, Tom, who are good with kill shots.
That was a very nice combination play this last time.
Oh, the Knights setting up Allie Graff of St. Mary's, and she just took that gift and rammed it right down onto the court for the point.
Now, Allie Graff, she's made several impressive plays. They set the ball low to her, and she's able to hit it very, very hard.
All tied at 9. Very tight opening set here. Here's Allred with a little tip. Back across. Knights will reset. Gwynn couldn't get the kill shot to go. Tipped. We had a violation on the Knights, I believe, at the net, so it's 9-9.
Another net.
Very tough, as you can see, when you're a blocker, Tom, to go up there and at times not have a violation. 10-9 is your score now.
Yeah, those are tiny nets, but if you net it all, there's a referee looking right at you.
Allred using her left hand to tip it over, and now her spike is going to be too far. She had a great look at a spike and just maybe simply hit it too hard.
A little hungry to get that fast. Just hit it out of bounds, trying to hit it a little too quick.
So it's a 2-point lead now for St. Mary's, 11-9. Blocked by St. Mary's, and they get the point as Felkins couldn't get it across. Now 12-9. This is the biggest lead either team has had so far here in this opening set. A 3-point lead right now for the Seahawks. Hosier over to Evans. Gets it across. Now St. Mary's will launch it across into the Southern Virginia territory. Felkins gets the spike to go. And substitutions. It'll be Teagues and Crockett back into the game as the Knights trail here 12-10 in this opening set.
So again, the Knights playing a 6-2, meaning now that there's a different setter and a little taller blocker goes into the front row for the setter that goes out.
Teagues into the front row, Crockett to serve. Crockett's serve is a service error. 2 service errors now for the Knights here in this opening set. 13-10, St. Mary's on top by 3.
I think that's the difference in this game so far is just the missed serves and maybe being out of system. When I say out of system, just not passing as well as they could to get an easy set, Southern Virginia.
Knights coming off a non-conference match victory against Virginia Wesleyan earlier this week. Allred with a great tip shot.
Very smart play by Allred that time. She didn't have a swing. The set was way inside the court. Didn't have a chance to kill it with a swing, and she tips it just to the opposite way.
And gets the Knights back to within 2. Blocked by the Knights, but blocked out of bounds. So the point goes to St. Mary's. It is 14-11. St. Mary's on top here by 3 again.
I'm impressed by St. Mary's so far. They've been in system quite a bit, and they set the ball very low to the outside. It's a very quick offense, and that's what you want if you can do it.
And it really looks like they don't really depend on any one or two individuals. They really spread it around. As Hosier couldn't really get a good handle on it and sent it over Tiggs' way, and Tiggs couldn't get to it. And now it's a 4-point lead here for St. Mary's.
The Knights need to settle down here and ball control, I call it, just pass. And there's another errant pass.
Another good serve by the server, Marissa Dangler, 5'2" sophomore from Smithburg, Maryland. And she has given her team a 16-11 lead here, Tom. And the Knights will take a timeout and talk it over. They're down by 5. That's the biggest deficit they have had so far here tonight.
You know, it looks like they're just pressing. The Knights are just pressing a little bit too much at this point. They just need to relax, it looks to me. If they just settle down, pass the ball easy to the setter, they have a good enough offense. They can set the ball to 3 hitters. They have 3 of the top hitters in the conference, or the stronger hitters. They just need to ball control right now and get that pass to the setter.
Knights have played very well here of late. They, of course, beat Frostburg, lost to York, but then came back last weekend and beat Penn State Harrisburg. And then, of course, earlier this week, as we mentioned, they defeated Virginia Wesleyan in straight sets. So they've won 3 of their last 4 and looked very good here in the last couple of weeks.
You know, sometimes your attitude just changes a little bit as a player. When you think, oh, we're playing a good team, they're supposed to beat us, you relax and you play well. But here's a team that we need to beat. Maybe the feeling's just a little bit different.
Well, it's a huge match because, as we mentioned, time's running out for picking up victories to get into the top 6, Tom.
That's
but
right.
Then again, St. Mary's is only a game ahead of you. If you win this match tonight, you are tied with them. And there's a big kill shot by Tiggs to bring the Knights back to within 4. Now it's so important when they were down by 5 here, Tom, to make a little run, to get a little point, maybe 2 or 3 points in a row.
Well, while number 12 is in the front row for the Knights, Tiggs, they should go to her a lot. She's the one that's killing the ball right now.
And Evans with the service. Knights, who they set up. It's going to be Gwynn. Gets it across. All red. Let's see if they go to Tiggs. They will. Good save there. Good dig by St. Mary's. And it is out. Nope, it's in. They're going to rule in, and the point goes to St. Mary's.
Well, they called a touch. I guess Tiggs looks a little guilty. She must have touched the ball.
Doesn't take much. Just the slightest graze will do it. 17-12, and St. Mary's ups that lead back to 5 again. Mia Griffiths serving for the Seahawks. Don't believe they've had a service error yet. Win, but a nice dig there by St. Mary's, and they get it across. Great save by the Knights. Tipped by the Knights, and that was Starkey tipping it across for the point.
Now, both teams have had some combination plays, we call them. That means where the middle blocker goes in or the middle hitter goes in for a quick hit, and someone comes right next to them, the outside hitter, and hits it right next to the quick hitter. It's hard to tell who's going to be set. That's a combination play.
Hartle's back in to serve. Knights trail here by 4. Allred with a dig over to Gwynn. St. Mary's returning it. Blocked by the Knights, but blocked out of bounds, and the point will go over to the Seahawks, who jumped that lead back to 5 again, now at 18-13. So the Knights are able to get a point here and there, Tom, but down by 5, they really need a run. They have not been able to really put together a run to try to cut really into that 5-point deficit.
That's right. St. Mary's is a consistent team right now.
Nice push by the Knights, but the point is given to St. Mary's. A double hit is the call on the Knights. It is 19-13. St. Mary's, that's their biggest lead so far here in this opening set.
That's a very tight call. Called a throw or a lift on the setter, trying to put that over the net. It was a close call.
Here's the set for Gwynn. Got the point to go. 19-14.
Now, it's interesting that St. Mary's hasn't chosen to block with 2 blockers on the right side, their left side of the court, the Knights' right side of the court. And the Knights are setting to the right side of the court quite often.
Gwynn has been the big kill artist lately for the Knights. Blocked by Allred. Point to the Knights, 19-15.
If you notice the Knights, when they line up with their blockers, they're kind of bunched into the middle, as opposed to St. Mary's, who kind of spreads their block out. But bunched in the middle, you can block with 2 blockers on the quicks, and that time they got a block.
Wynn somehow got
save.
it across. What a great dig there. Blocked by the Knights. And then Hosier, but the Knights not able to get it across. That was a huge point for St. Mary's after the Knights really battled.
Yeah, so far St. Mary's has just got ahead because of some ball control, and now they're just keeping that lead, but both teams are stepping it up. You can tell the momentum for both teams is just a little bit better than what it was. They're relaxed now, swinging more freely, both teams.
20-15 is your score right now. There's Gwynn over to Hartle, and now all red. Dig by St. Mary's, back the other way. Good tip shot by the Seahawks. Knights somehow able to get that back across.
There's a combination play.
Knights not going to be able to get that one back, and it's going to be a 6-point lead now for St. Mary's.
Good timeout by the Knights. They needed it right then. But this is going to be hard to come back unless they can do something. At this point in time, you really have to make sure that somebody's getting a good swing at the ball and make something happen when you go back to serve. You have to serve it tough.
And Tom, you've talked about this too before. You really want to try to get some momentum going. You'd love to be able to come back from the 6-point deficit and win this opening set. But even if you don't and you make it close, that's the kind of momentum you can carry over to set number 2.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Right at the end of the game, do you have momentum going into the next set? Sometimes I call them games. That's kind of old school, but the next set, it's very important what you're doing right at the end of each game, even if you don't win that particular game.
And the Knights right now trail by 6 at 21-15. It's been a pretty tight opening set, but here in the last couple of minutes, St. Mary's has been able to pull away and add to their lead and get it up to 6 points now with the service coming here from Megan Griffiths.
This is interesting for the Knights. They have a freshman setter in the match that hasn't played a lot, but so far she's playing very, very well.
Alexandra Felkins. And the Knights will try to set up all red. A ramp shot by St. Mary's, and they got it to go. Kill shot by Allie Graff. Graff, the 5'7" senior from Annapolis, Maryland. Big shot there, 22-15. Seahawks now by 7.
I hope you got a chance to see that on camera. That was a very fast set, and it connected very well. That's hard to block.
Off the shoulder of the St. Mary's player, and the Knights get the kill shot from Felkins to make it 22-16. Yeah. And now they really do need that run.
They do. But that was a back at you. That was a very nice swing on the right side of the court again for the Knights. They should just keep doing that if they're not going to be blocked that much.
Hosier serving. 6-point lead right now for the Seahawks. Oh, great placement on that kill by St. Mary's. Hartle just not able to get over to it, and it's 23-16, and the Seahawks are on top again by 7 here.
Now the score is kind of tough to get and come back here. Like you said, it's important now to see what they do the last few points.
Graff serving for the Seahawks. Hartle sets up. Evans blocked by the Seahawks. They get the point, and now it's set point 24-16. Seahawks trying to wrap up set number 1. Hartle setting up Felkins. Point goes to St. Mary's.
That ball hit the antenna, so that was out of bounds to end the set.
And so St. Mary's wins the opening set here 25-16, Tom, and that was an impressive first set for the Seahawks.
It was very impressive. I'm not sure that I've seen a team be able to set that fast to the outside on their sets.
Well, explain that real quick. You mentioned if you can have a quick set, it just doesn't give the defense time to react, the other team.
That's exactly right. I think that's what has changed so much the last 10 years in volleyball itself. The teams internationally, how fast the ball just goes from antenna to antenna. Then if you get some big people that can hit in the middle very quickly and you set the ball very quick to the outside, you're almost always one-on-1, 1-on-0 sometimes. but it's just so hard. That means you have to have good ball control. You always have to have a good pass in order to run that fast offense. And so far, St. Mary's has been able to do that. It's very, very impressive.
Now, if you're the Southern Virginia coaches, how do you really combat something like that, or can you combat that?
Well, you do. It's a game of momentum again, but the biggest thing you can do is when you're back to serve is get them out of system. You have to serve the weakest passer. You have to know where to serve, and you have to serve it tough. I've always said this. The worst thing in volleyball, statistically, that correlates to winning or losing is to miss your serve. That's a given. But what's the next worst thing? Against a good team, if you're a good team and you're playing a good team, the next worst thing is to serve an easy serve.
Right.
Just because of the high percentage that they're going to side it out if you give them an easy serve.
And I'm not sure it was really a big factor in that opening set, but the Knights did have a couple of service errors. I don't believe St. Mary's had any service errors. Yeah,
they just didn't get St. Mary's out of system that often. St. Mary's was impressive with their ball control. Set it quick. That's hard to continue, though. We'll see what happens in the second set.
And we mentioned the launch of Southern Virginia University's new official gear website, gear.svu.edu. The newest and best source for all your official Southern Virginia University gear. All orders are shipped within 24 hours guaranteed. And a number of products available on the website, including casual wear, hunting, office supplies, tailgating equipment, infant clothing. They've got everything. Again, you can reach that website at gear.svu.edu. We are ready to go here in set number 2 after the Knights lost the opening set 25-16. And again, as we mentioned in the pregame here, Tom, this is an extremely important match. It's not do or die tonight for the Knights, but it would be so helpful if they could beat St. Mary's tonight as far as trying to get in the top 6, trying to make the postseason tournament in the Capital Conference.
That's exactly right. It will be interesting here in another few rotations. The Knights always start in rotation 1, we called it. That's when the setter is in the right back area, and it's usually the same setter we call rotation 1. When they play a 6-2, you could also call 3 rotations ahead. Well, that could be called rotation 1. But the Knights always start with number 4 in the front row, Crockett. And when Crockett goes to the front row, they'll probably still set a 6-2, but we'll see if it's the freshman that comes back in this particular set. It might be Valerie.
Beatty?
Yeah.
I haven't seen her tonight.
Yeah, she might be back here in this second set. We'll see.
Okay, here's Crockett serving to start set number 2. And a good point there by St. Mary's. That was Bridget Morris going right down the right line and getting it in.
Both teams having a lot of success on the setting the right side of their court.
Dangler serving for St. Mary's. Starkey. Now the Knights set up Starkey last time. Who will they set up this time? It's going to be Tiggs. Back across. Blocked by the Knights. It's going to be Gwynn now, blocked by St. Mary's. And St. Mary's gets the point, as that was a kind of a gift for Megan Kelly, the 5'11 sophomore from Ellicott City, Maryland, and she took advantage of it to make it 2-0 Seahawks. Dangler serving. Soft serve.
Good serve.
Hosier barely got there. Gwynn got her kill shot to go. A big point there for the Knights. It's 2-1.
Again, a hit on the right side of the court, but that was a good serve by St. Mary's. A good short serve to get the Knights out of system.
And here's Gwynn serving. Blocked by the Knights, and Allred right there to block and get the point.
I hope you could see that well. Allred knew where the ball was being hit down the line, and she was just a little out of position. She reached as hard as she could and did get the ball back to the middle of the court by her block.
And it's 2-2. Served by Gwynn. Allred got it over to Crockett. Back to Gwynn. Now tapped across as the Knights had the blockers there. A little scoop shot there by Tiggs, but it's St. Mary's ending up getting the point to take the lead back at 3-2.
The thing about setting the right side of the court, when they set Tiggs that time, they just weren't in position to give her a good swing. That's the hard thing about setting the right side. You have to have a ball to the setter so they can easily set it.
Mia Griffiths serving. Tiggs got the kill shot over. Hosier with the dig. Tiggs saves it. Gwynn gets it back across for the Knights. And now blocked by Allred again.
Allred is, I think she's just the best blocker that the Knights have. And if she's in front of the ball, she gets her hands on almost every single swing.
Boy, if you're St. Mary's and you're facing Allred, you don't really try for kill shots, do you? You just kind of tap it across, don't you?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes you just try to avoid too much the block.
All tied at 3 now. Here's Allred for the kill. But it's saved by St. Mary's. Hosier. Crockett will get it back across. Tapped by the Seahawks. Allred. Good save there by Hosier. Blocked again by the Knights. They get the point and take their first lead here of the second set at 4-3.
I think they called that a block. It couldn't tell if that crossed the net, but they called it a block. That helps your stats.
Hosier serving. Blocked again by the Knights.
Again by Allred.
Allred, but Evans is right there too.
Yeah. Oh, when I say that Allred is such a good blocker, she needs someone to block with her. And you always want assist blocks as a coach. You don't want someone to block solo. That means somebody else is out of position.
And the Knights have taken a 2-point lead. And that time, St. Mary's got the kill shot to go. Allred not able to return that one. It's 5-4. So the Knights are within, have taken a 1-point lead. Had a 2-point lead. Now it's down to 1. Service by St. Mary's. Going to be Allred. And St. Mary's somehow able to get that back across. Now it's Tiggs. And the point goes to St. Mary's as Tiggs could not get it across. And we are all even at 5.
It's worth pointing out that St. Mary's is setting a 5-1 instead of a 6-2. That means they only have one setter in the match.
Hill serving that time. And it looks like the call goes against the Knights. Double hit is the call. It's 6-5. St. Mary's 3 straight points to go from a 2-point deficit to a 1-point lead.
Ball control.
Allred gets it back with the kill. St. Mary's saves it though. And nice scoop shot. It gets it across. Allred will try again. Another good dig by St. Mary's. That shot is out by St. Mary's. Point Knights, all even at 6 now. As Beatty will come into the game for the first time, and Felkin's also in there. So Valerie Beatty, who's their top assist and top dig person out there, will make her first appearance here tonight, Tom.
Here she is. Like I said, they've gone 3 rotations ahead, and now a new setter.
Beatty with the service. All tied at 6. Knights not able. Oh, they got it across.
They saved it.
Barely.
Nice save.
Beatty was able to do that. Gwynn couldn't get her kill shot back across. I'll tell you, when you're scrambling like that and you make big plays, how disorganized are you? Does it take a couple of points, or shots to actually get the organization back to where you think you really want it to be?
It certainly can. The thing about that, the Knights made such good defensive plays that it's just a shame to hit the ball into the net to end that rally. It was a good rally, though.
7-6. Knights trailing by 1. Allred with a heck of a spike there. No way to stop that one. It's all tied at 7.
You know, I'm impressed with Allie Graff for St. Mary's. She's a powerful hitter. She's not as tall, however, when she's blocking. That right side of the court again is golden for the Knights to hit.
Only 5'7".
There's Graff again hitting hard.
Gwynn with a little tip across. And St. Mary is able to get it, as that was Audrey McKay, 6-foot freshman, Not a whole lot of speed on that, but good placement.
Yeah, when you hit it opposite way of where the action is, it's usually a kill if you can get it by the block.
And St. Mary's on top now, 8-7. Beatty will set up Evans. It is blocked by the Seahawks, and they'll get the point out of it as it hit the crossbar, hit the
antenna, right.
And it's now 9-7. And for set number 2, this is about as big point differential as we've had. 2-point differential right now. Knights earlier had a 2-point lead, now trail by 2. And Allred gets it across. Seahawks trying to set things up. Good little fire shot there by the Seahawks. Blocked on Glenn's shot, and the point goes to St. Mary's. And suddenly, after the Knights had a 5-3 lead, Tom, now it's St. Mary's on top by 3 here, 10-7.
Again, St. Mary's, I think, has just passed very well the last little while, so they're able to set that very quick hit. Graff is an impressive hitter on the left side of the court. Watch her if you can. If they get a good pass, they're probably going to set it to number 14.
And a miss hit there by the Knights gives another point to St. Mary's, so they'll take a timeout. The Knights will, and they're now trailing here, Tom, 11-7.
Yeah, momentum, that's why you call it timeout. So we'll see how the timeout affects the server and affects momentum. You, as the team that's serving, you never want to make the coach look too good with their timeout by missing your serve, of course. But you need to serve a tough serve as well. If you're St. Mary's at this point, you want to keep the Knights out of system, and that's what they've been able to do to gain this lead.
The Knights have been outscored 8-2 after taking a 5-3 lead, now trailing 11-7. It's not the panic time yet. Still not even halfway through this second set, Tom, but you don't want to fall any further behind right now.
Yep, and the Knights with Beatty in as setter, you can tell she is very fast. She gets to the ball a little bit easier than most players. And see that set right there, a very nice set, able to go reverse flow, I call that.
Somehow St. Mary's was able to track that down and bring it back across. Gwynn had her shot blocked. It is still, nope. What are they going to rule here?
The referee called the ball down, and I don't think he's going to change his call.
He's going to give the point.
He wasn't in front of the ball, but he's not going to ask the referee, the down referee.
They give the point.
Oh, now he is.
Okay.
He's going to ask the down referee if he thought the ball was down because he had a very better viewpoint. But we'll see if they change.
Like for a second it was, but Allred, I believe, was able to maybe save it.
Yeah, she was very close to it and touched it. I don't know if she got all of it. It might have touched the floor. Oh, good call by the referee to change. The head referee just didn't have as good a sight as the down referee, and that's exactly what you want a good referee to do is ask
your partner.
So they'll replay that point? Yep, they will replay it now.
So it's 11-7. Take that point off the board. It would have given St. Mary's a 5-point lead, but now it's 11-7.
Yeah, sometimes referees can be a little stubborn and not change their call, but I think that's a good referee. If
well, it's
you ask
good.
your partner.
Because other sports, sometimes no matter even if they know they've missed a call, they can't overturn it.
And that's true. Yeah, in volleyball, you can change your call. The referee can be a big part of the match.
And it's very good, Tom, that they ask for help when they're not sure, as St. Mary's got that ball to tip across on a serve. Now the Seahawks will try for the kill. It's blocked by the Knights.
That's big stuff. Stuff is a big block.
Yeah, Gwynn was there along with Evans.
If you've noticed, those blocks the Knights have gained have come by reaching down the line. St. Mary's is hitting line a lot.
Double hit, I think, is going to be the call. Yep, double hit on St. Mary's makes it 11-9. So that overturned point so far making a big difference. Knights have put together a little run here of 2 points in a row. Blocked again by the Knights. This one goes over, and the point goes to St. Mary's, as that was Bridget Morris, the 6-foot junior from Bethesda, Maryland, getting the point. And that was a big point right there for St. Mary's to stop a little 2-0 run by the Knights.
It was a critical point for St. Mary's, and that ball was right on top of the line. It could have been called out.
12-9 Seahawks. And their first service error tonight gets the Knights back to within 2 at 12-10 as Tiggs and Crockett will check back in for Beatty and Felkins.
Now it seems that, Graff, number 14 for St. Mary's, just served that ball, and she's in the back row now. We'll see if that affects St. Mary's. I don't think that they're quite as strong without Graff in the front row.
And here's Crockett serving.
Kind of an easy serve, though.
And the point goes to St. Mary's as Megan Kelly, the 5'11 sophomore, was able to get her kill shot to go, and it's 13-10. And St. Mary's just always seems to find a way to, not allow the Knights to really go on any big run.
Yeah, Kelly's maybe not the power hitter, but they pass the ball so easy that if you set the ball to the outside as fast as they do, almost anyone can get a kill that's a good player.
Hosier gets it across after the dangler serve. And back Kelly. Point goes to St. Mary's. Another kill shot by Megan Kelly.
I think that ball hit the fan that time.
It did, but I'm not even sure that the Knights were going to be able to get that one back across. So it's 14-10. Seahawks with a 4-point lead after the Knights had closed it within a couple. Here's Tiggs. Knights will set up Tiggs again. Blocked.
Oh, they called it no-go. They didn't go over the net.
And it's 15-10 now. Knights are just having a hard time here, Tom, to get their kill shots to go. And as a result, St. Mary's has a 5-point lead.
They're just scrambling a little bit more often than St. Mary's, and it's kind of hurting their swings right now, just out of system too much.
Kelly will get it back across. All red. Sets it over to Tiggs. Good dig there by the Seahawks. And an attempt to go down the line by Kelly is unsuccessful. The Knights get the point, make it 15-11, and Gwynn will serve.
Yeah, I think there's a tendency on St. Mary's. If you're a coach, you see the tendency when they're hitting on their right side of the court, they hit it line, and when they're on the left side, they try to hit extreme angle most of the time. 4-point
lead right now for the Seahawks.
Another line shot.
It's going to be Tiggs getting it.
Oh, they called that out.
Called it out. That was a big point there for the Seahawks to make it 16-11 as they continue to lead here by 5 points. Mia Griffiths back into the game, and she'll serve.
This is a strong rotation for the Knights. They need to get some points while they're here.
Hosier, Crockett. Now here's Allred. And the point goes to Allred with the kill shot to make it 16-12. And just like that first set that the Knights lost 25-16, Tom, they were down by 4 or 5, really needed to make a run late. Didn't do it. Now we'll see if they can do it here in set number 2.
Even though they rotated one, this is still the Knights' strength when Teague is in the front row, the left-handed hitter.
And Evans couldn't get her shot across, but the Knights end up with the point eventually to make it 16-13. So the Knights have closed that gap from 5 down to 3. And we will see now if they can continue with this rally to try to get a little closer.
There's a hard serve.
Back across, Gwynn over to Evans. And Evans with the kill to make it 16-14. Now we'll see if maybe St. Mary's will take a timeout as the Knights have put together a little 3-0 run to go from 5 down to only 2 down. Hosier serving. Gwynn sets up Allred. Here's Kelly again. Crockett. Oh, couldn't get it across. That was a big point for the Seahawks to snap that 3-0 run by the Knights and make it a 3-point lead here at 17-14.
Yeah, just couldn't pinpoint the set very, very well, so we just couldn't, the Knights couldn't swing at the ball.
Carissa Hill, 5'5 senior, serving for St. Mary's. Crockett will set up Allred. Tips it, got it across. Seahawks back the other way, can't get it across, and it's 17-15. As Felkins and Beatty will check back in for Crockett and for Tiggs.
So new setter. And Teagues goes out. Now, sometimes when Teagues goes out of the match, they haven't been as strong, the Knights. But we'll see if they still set the right side of the court.
Beatty serving. 2-point lead right now. Beatty.
Yeah, there's the right side of the court, and it's a kill.
Falcons got it off one of the Seahawks and got it into an area where there were no Seahawks to make it 17-16.
Snuck it around the block.
So the lead is all the way down to 1 after it being 5 for St. Mary's. And Beatty's service is out.
Hard time to miss a serve.
18-16, Seahawks clinging to a 2-point lead. Megan Griffiths.
Now, Allred is on the right side of the court. That's probably where they're going to set the ball, to the right side, the Knights.
And Griffiths goes over to the left sider of the Knights.
But out of system.
And that one's going to be too far. The Knights get the point to make it 18-17.
Allie Graff, such a strong hitter, but if she doesn't get a good set, she's a shorter player and can't hit it very hard.
Allred serving. They'll set it up on the right side, and the Seahawks will get the point as Graff gets the kill shot. It makes it 19-17, and the Seahawks just staying ahead of the Knights by a very slim margin of 2 points right now.
That's when you look at each individual player. Graff almost always hits at angle, even if she's hitting from the right side of the court. Everyone else on the right side of the court.
Oh, mistake there, Beatty.
Yeah.
I guess she was trying to get it across in a surprise move, but just didn't get it high enough.
That's right. She's in the back row, so she can't jump up in the air to set that across. It makes it a little harder.
Nice soft serve there by the Seahawks. Allred will tip it back across. Kill shot for St. Mary's.
Yep, that was
Graff again. You'll notice on the roster we got 2 Graffs, we got 2 Griffiths. I'm going to imagine in both cases we're talking about sisters.
Sisters,
so,
yeah.
You know, 2 groups of sisters by St. Mary's.
Yeah, the Graffs are, well, they're both seniors, so that's an interesting sister case. I don't know if they look like twins, but.
Nope. But they have a 4-point lead now, Tom, and it's been a game of flows and ebbs. You know, the Knights have trailed at one point by 5, got it all the way down to 1, and now it's back up to 4 again.
Ball control again, just not being able to get a good full swing at the ball. If you get blocked, sometimes as a coach, you just can't feel too bad if the other team blocks you for points. But if it's your own mistakes, just because you can't ball control or you hit it out of bounds, that's when you pull your hair out. That's why I don't have hair, I guess. So.
There you go. Want to make mention again of that new launch of the Southern Virginia new official gear website. It is gear.svu.edu. All orders are shipped within 24 hours guaranteed. Number of products available, including casual wear, tailgating equipment, office supplies, hunting, infant clothing. It is the newest and best source for all official Southern Virginia University gear. 4-point lead for the Seahawks.
Very important points right here. It's, again, out of system.
And the Knights could not get it across. They were disorganized on that short serve. And now it is a 5-point lead. And now suddenly St. Mary's is 3 points away from going up 2 sets to none.
Short serve, and they serve it to Allred, who's the power hitter on the front row, takes her out of position, ready for her approach.
That time a stronger serve. Here's Felkins.
Oh, she's in the back row.
Back over, blocked by the Knights, but blocked out of bounds, and now suddenly it is a 6-point lead for the Seahawks.
You can tell it's a little bit discouraging when you get down like this and you kind of slap hands a little faster. You don't come to the middle as much.
Here's Gwynn with the kill shot and got it to go, 23-18. Knights needed that point badly, and right now they'll need a run of about 4 or 5 straight points.
That's right. And all it does is take one big hard hit or one great play. You can get the momentum back, but not that way.
Error by Evans to make it 24-18.
That was a hard, even worse to miss that one, of course.
Well, especially at this stage of the game.
Exactly.
So now it's set point for the Seahawks. trying to go on top here, 2-0. Graff serving. Beatty will set up Gwynn. And it's Kelly again. Allred will try to get it back across to Hosier, and she mishit it out of bounds. And it's going to be 25-18, a victory in set number 2 for the Seahawks, Tom. And so now the Seahawks have won the opening 2 sets of this match, 25-16 in the first set, 25-18 in the second set. And now the Knights, if they want to try to win this match, are going to have to win 3 sets in a row.
Which can be done. They've done that not that long ago. They can make some great comebacks, but that's a little discouraging at that time. Now there's a 10-minute break here between games 2 and 3, so that actually can help the team that just lost that particular set, because it really does help to gain the momentum back. You need that long timeout if you're that team.
And we're going to go ahead and take a timeout again. We are in between set 2 and set 3, with the Seahawks winning the opening set 25-16 and winning set number 2 25-18. So the Seahawks lead here 2-0, and set 3 is just a few minutes away. So stay with us. We'll take a little break here from the Knight Sports Arena. Signal us. We are back here at the Knight Sports Arena. Jim Bresnahan, joined by Tom Peterson. And again, we have gone through 2 sets so far with the Knights trailing 2 sets to none. 25-16, they lost that first set. And Tom, they lost the second set 25-18. We've got the stats right now. Anything really leap out at you?
Well, yeah, the hitting percentage is always what you look at. The Knights not being able to hit very well this evening, making a lot of mistakes, hitting the ball out of bounds, making a lot of errors, and that has to do with ball control, like I said, and just not being able to get the ball to the setter to get a good, easy set. But they're hitting 0-1-2. It's 12%. You want to be in the 250 area to be a good team, and St. Mary's is not lighting it up either, but just enough. They're hitting 111. They're hitting enough or better than the Knights. If this continues, it's out in 3. But so that's what they have to change, is the hitting percentage, get to their strong hitters, and they have to step it up. Both Teagues and Gwynn just have to hit a little bit better than they are. One is a negative 143 for Teagues and only 50% for Gwynn. So those two have to step it up if they want to win tonight. And
we'll see the relatively lengthy layoff of 10 minutes in between set 2 and set 3, how that impacts really both teams.
That's exactly right. That long a period of time, you're just never sure. If you're the team that did win the game, you want it shorter. But if you're the team that lost it, then that's a welcome sight.
Reminder that we've had the new launch recently of Southern Virginia University's new official gear website. It is gear.svu.edu, the newest and best source for all official Southern Virginia University gear. All orders are shipped within 24 hours, and the products include casual wear, tailgating equipment, office supplies, hunting, infant clothing, you name it, they've got it. Again, that is gear.svu.edu. Ready to start set number 3 with the Knights trailing 2 sets to none. And Allie Graff will go ahead and serve for St. Mary's to get this third set underway. It ticks the net, and the Knights had too many hits, 4 hits to get it across. That's 1-0 St. Mary's.
If you notice for the Knights, they're having just a little bit of a different serve-receive formation. They put Gwynn to be able to hit the ball on the left side of the court. They call this stacking. They have all 3 hitters on the left side of the court to start when the other team is serving.
Beatty comes in to save it, but we're going to have...
That's called a back row hitter. The hitter from the back row, from the 10-foot line, they call it, or the 3-meter line. Sometimes it's called. You can't jump in front of that line to hit the ball.
And the Knights did, so it's 2-0 now. The Knights trailing by 2 already here in set number 3. Gwynn with the spike, and it is good as the player for the Seahawks, Marissa Dangler, 5'2" sophomore, tried to dig it but could not, and it's 2-1.
You almost want to say finally. That's a good hard swing. It's interesting that St. Mary's didn't have anyone there to block.
Gwynn serving, getting it across. A little tip by St. Mary's. Now the Knights setting up Falcons. Good tip shot by St. Mary's that time. That was Audrey McKay, and she had perfect placement to make it 3-1.
That's another tendency that the Knights should pick up on. When St. Mary's is hitting in the middle, they tip the ball a lot, and they usually tip it to area 1, it's called, the right back area.
All red. Somehow, saved by St. Mary's. They got it across somehow. Now the Knights will try again, all red. And that one is long. 4-1, St. Mary's.
Now here's the time you just can't rush things. You can't get so anxious to start to play good that it makes you even play worse. You can't hit the ball out of bounds.
Seahawks serving with a 3-point lead. This time it's going to be all red, and no stopping that shot.
Now that's a combination play again. So all red comes into the middle of the court, right next to where the middle blocker just jumped. It kind of fakes out the blocker on the other side, and she's able to hit it right from the middle of the court and hit it down.
4-2. Here is Hosier serving. Boy, some miscommunication by the Seahawks as to who was going to get it back across, and it cost them a point. It's 4-3.
Little momentum switches. It's very interesting.
Hosier serving again when the Knights only trailing by 1 now. Bad set that time by the Seahawks. They have made a couple of mistakes here in a row now, and now it's all tied at 4.
Whoever makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win this match.
Hosier serving again. This is Kelly, and she went down the net again. Just as you mentioned, Tom, likes to do that, and Kelly, seeing the opening, gets the point to go to make it 5-4.
Now, the Knights like to block with 3 people sometimes, and that's a great system. Not that many people are able to do that, but when you block with 3 people, it leaves a big hole, especially extreme cross court. You have to have somebody move into that area.
Soft serve that time. Felkins towards the net. Gwynn is able to save it. Evans will try, blocked by the Seahawks. Felkins will try again to get it across. She does. Set up for Kelly. And a point. Blocked by the Knights, blocked out of bounds though. And as soon as the Knights tie it at 4, St. Mary's goes back on top with a couple of points to make it 6-4.
Game of momentum and little runs.
Service by St. Mary's. Evans blocked by the Seahawks again. Allred tips it over, and it's going to be ruled out to make it 7-4.
The Knights looking for a touch on the block, but no touch.
That's the ruling from the referee. 7-4, St. Mary's. Service. Here we go. Felkins. Somehow it got it across, but it hit the antenna and on the way back, and so it's a point for the Knights to make it 7-5 as the Knights will substitute Tiggs into the game along with Crockett now. Out come Felkins, out comes Beatty. Crockett will serve. Larry, 5'8", freshman from Wilcox, Arizona. Knights only down by 2 here. Blocked by the Knights. Tipped around, and it's going to go to the Knights. That's 4 hits on St. Mary's ruled, and it's a point for the Knights to make it 7-6.
I think that the St. Mary's player actually touched the net as she was trying to dig it out of the net.
The 1-point lead for St. Mary's. Blocked by the Knights. Allred gets it back across. Set up for Kelly. Off of Crockett, out of bounds, and the point will go to the Seahawks, 8-6. Suddenly, Megan Kelly, the 5'11 sophomore from Ellicott City, Maryland, is making some big plays.
She's a very consistent player now. They have some good outside hitters, and now they're switching to where they can hit it down the line from the left side of the court.
8-6. Knights just get that one across. Set up. Hosier with the dig. Gwynn goes back the other way. And it's going to be ruled a point for St. Mary's.
Yep, hit it out of bounds.
9-6 Seahawks. They have moved that lead to 3 here in set number 3. They won the first 2 sets. 25-16, 25-18. Allred blocked again by the Seahawks.
Good eye by the Knights.
The Knights taking a chance here, letting it go. It went out of bounds, 9-7. So the Knights are back to within 2 with Allred serving. Seahawks got that one to go in the back line.
And they called a touch on the block.
10-7. Reminder about football coming up tomorrow. We've got Southern Virginia University's homecoming game against William Patterson tomorrow. That'll be a 1 o'clock kickoff. You can catch it all on the webcast. The women's volleyball game is scheduled to start at 5 o'clock against Marymount. So join us for football at 1 o'clock against William Patterson. A rare service error for the Seahawks makes it 11-8. I think that's just their second service error all night long. Evans will serve. Seahawks get the point down the line.
Well, the Graff sisters, one of them sets and now is a hitter. There's a pretty talented pair of sisters right there.
And the Seahawks will serve with the lead here in set number 3. Graff will serve. Soft serve that time. Crockett, kind of a miss set, was setting up Starkey. I don't know that Starkey was ready for that set, and the point goes to the Seahawks.
Yeah, miscommunication there.
Sometimes you try to fool the other team, you fool your own team.
That's exactly right.
This time Crockett is going to set up Gwynn. No stopping that kill. 12-9.
Combination play again, coming to the middle of the court. Their outside hitter for the Knights comes to the middle of the court, around the middle blocker, and hits it from the middle. And they've had success doing that. They should run some more combination plays, you would say, if you're the coach.
Falcons and Beatty are back in. Beatty will serve. Knights trailing by 3. Knights really need this point. Gwynn, and she went too long with that shot to make it 13-9. And we're kind of in the same boat as we were in the first 2 sets, Tom. The Knights getting about the halfway point of the set, trailing by 4, and again needing to make a run.
Yeah, and the Knights trying to set a quick offense as well, and just not able to set it for an easy swing.
Knights trying to get it over. Allred got it back. Allred with the dig that time.
Oh, good strong hit finally by the Knights in the middle of the court.
That was Morgan Starkey. She makes it 13-10. Gwynn will now serve. Knights trailing by 3. Blocked by the Knights. And the Knights get the easy kill shot at the net. I believe that was Starkey again to make it 13-11.
You know, one thing that the Knights have done a little bit better than St. Mary's this match is block. They have more blocks, and that'll be a big thing coming down right to the end of this particular game.
Gwynn got her service over. And it goes to St. Mary's as the Knights really could never get a handle on that ball once it hit the ceiling.
Yeah, that makes it hard, but ball control, sometimes you just have to get it up without trying to pinpoint it.
Well, Dangler will serve for the Seahawks, who lead here by 3, 14-11.
Again, out of system for the Knights.
That ball went across, but the point
hit the ceiling, however.
Yep, hit the ceiling, and it goes over to the Knights for the point, 14-12. Hosier will serve here. The Knights trail by 2. They lost the first 2 sets. And the Seahawks get a good kill from Megan Kelly. Kelly and also, as we mentioned, the Graff sisters, the Griffith sisters, really making some big plays tonight. And the Seahawks have taken that lead back up to 3 now at 15-12.
Combination plays for St. Mary's that particular time.
And here's Mia Griffith with the serve. They were going to go to Allred. Evans got the shot off instead. Now Allred will get it back across. Set goes to Kelly. Blocked by the Knights, but hit the antenna. Point goes to St. Mary's. And no sooner did the Knights try to work that lead down to 2 or 3, Tom, that the Seahawks boosted right back up.
Yeah, they're just the ball control again is going to determine if the Knights can come back. There's a good set.
Allred is blocked at the net.
A good block as well.
Battle at the net. Seahawks will set up on the right side. It's blocked by the Knights. That's Allred making a huge block to make it 16-13 as Crockett and Tiggs will check back in.
You know, the offense always has the advantage. When they go up to swing, there are many more kills than there are blocks. But when you do get a block like that, Allred has been impressive in this match with, 4 or 5 blocks. But that was a very impressive block of stuff straight down.
3-point advantage right now for St. Mary's, with Crockett getting ready to serve. Set number 3. The Knights need to win it to keep this match alive. They set up Kelly. Her shot is out, 16-14.
And I bet you the block before that Allred had affected her swing. She tried to stay away from wherever Allred was, and she hit it out of bounds.
Crockett serving again. Backline kill shot attempt by the Seahawks. Here is Tiggs. Saved by St. Mary's. Kelly. Knights get it back across to Kelly again. Now here is Allred. And her shot is too far to make it 17-14.
I think that they missed. The referee missed a call that time. I thought that the block touched the ball, and that's what they were looking for. That was a good swing by Allred. I think the referee just missed that one.
And that was a big point, too. A crucial point, 17-14. Seahawks serving. 3-point lead. Allred got it to go. No stopping that one, 17-15.
Now that was a very interesting play. She just hit on the left side, then she hit on the right side of the court. It's kind of that's a smart play. If you got blocked in one area, go somewhere else, hit it again.
Allred serving. Oh, and a nice kill shot that time by St. Mary's. That was Hannah Krause, 6'1" sophomore from Maryland, who makes the kill shot, goes out of the game on the substitution, and gives her team the lead of 3 now at 18-15.
Yeah, very nice swing in the middle of the court from the middle blocker.
Knights trying to get a run to going here to battle back from a 3-point deficit. Crockett will set up Tiggs. Blocked by St. Mary's. They go back the other way with a little tip. Evans going to set up Gwynn.
Nice play by the Knights.
Gwynn with the kill to make it 18-16.
Good dig, kind of a scramble play, but they were able to set it up in the air where Gwynn took off 1 foot and flew into the ball and could smack it hard.
Evans with the service. Seahawks find an opening, and that ball goes out. Allred couldn't dig it out. It's 19-16, and the Seahawks are maintaining that lead of 3 points right now. Inching their way to 25 and a match victory.
Yeah, the Knights need a little bit of a run right here. I don't know if we've had a timeout yet, have we?
Don't think so, not in set number 3 here. This one is toward the net. Blocked by the Seahawks. Gwynn will try again and get the point.
Gwynn is a power hitter. You watch her when she jumps way far away from the ball, but is able to broad jump in to hit it. That's a talent. You can jump. She's more free and easy, it looks like, than she has been in matches past where her hip had been hurting.
Beatty into the game, serving 19-17. Knights trail by 2. Set for the Seahawks, blocked by the Knights. Blocked again by Starkey. Tipped this time by the Seahawks across. Here's Gwynn. She tried to tip it and it didn't go across, and now it's 20-17.
Sometimes when you're scrambling, the setter, if it's not the setter setting the ball on a scramble, they set the ball. If they set it too low, then the hitter just doesn't have a good approach. You just need to get it up high, get a big full swing. That time they couldn't do it.
3-point lead for the Seahawks here in set number 3. Knights lost the first 2 sets. Here's Beatty setting up Gwynn. A little confusion there.
Yeah.
Kelly gets it across. Beatty, Now will the Knights get it back across? They do. Here's Kelly again, blocked by the Knights. Blocked back across, saved by St. Mary's. Kelly will try again. Hosier right there with a dig. Allred And her shot too far, and now it's a 4-point lead for St. Mary's at 21-17. And
Yep.
I think we're going to get our first timeout here in set number 3 by the Knights as they trail here 21-17. A reminder about the new launch of Southern Virginia University's new official gear website once more. That is gear.svu.edu. All orders ship within 24 hours. It's the newest and best source for all official university gear for such things as casual wear, hunting, office supplies, infant clothing, and tailgating equipment. Again, that is gear.svu.edu. It's crunch time right now here, Tom, as the Knights trail 21-17 after losing set 1 25-16 and losing set 2 25-18.
Critical time of not just the game but the match. The Knights have to come back here. They have to get a good pass. As a coach, you always say, okay, do that first. Don't worry about hitting, just get the good pass first. The St. Mary's has tried to serve quite often the hitter that's in the front row. And sometimes as a hitter, you want to hurry and get your approach. And sometimes you just don't get a good enough pass. So pass first right here.
And the Knights have been close tonight. They haven't been, blown out or anything like that, but they just have never been able to get over the hump. And maybe that's a credit to St. Mary's.
They're stacked. Not a good pass, though.
Allred will get it across. St. Mary's with a bit of a miss hit there. They'll tip it back across. Beatty will set up Felkins.
Good
Struck
swing.
out. Missed hit by the Knights. And the point goes to St. Mary's to make it 22-17. And now the Knights are really in a hole down by 5.
That was a big point. Good transition by St. Mary's. Very impressed with St. Mary's, their consistency.
Graff will serve. Beatty setting up Gwynn. Blocked by the Seahawks. And the point goes to St. Mary's to make it 23-17.
Good block. Now it's going to be very, very hard to come back. Let's see what the Knights are made of.
2 points to go for the Seahawks. Graff serving.
Out
Beatty,
of system.
They just barely got it across. Beatty with a dig. Allred will get over. Set for Kelly, and she gets the point. Megan Kelly with another kill. And now it is match point for the Seahawks. And a timeout taken by the Knights. Trailing here 24-17. They'll need that huge run now, Tom, down by 7 here after losing the opening 2 sets, 25-16 and 25-18.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Knights take a timeout that late in a game before. I'm wondering if...
Had one to give. I guess so. Desperation at time right now. How do you come from behind when you basically will need 8 or 9 straight points?
Well, of course, that's tough. So if you get the side out, and you always have the advantage, the side out team, you need to side out around 60% if you're a good team. So even if you're siding out, you 50%, when you side out, whoever goes back to serve. Maybe you even put in your best server if you have a substitution. But someone's got to serve the ball tough. Just that many points to come back. You have to get the other team out of system by serving.
And I don't know, tonight it's just been, the Knights have been a little bit off, but St. Mary's has played a very strong, consistent game.
Yeah, I think that's it might have even surprised the Knights. They played that well. I'm very impressed. The in system, and able to set the ball fast, just a good system.
Match point. Here's Gwynn. Kelly with the dig. They'll go over to the right side. Beatty saves it. Felkins is blocked, but the point will go to the Knights to make it 24-18. So the Knights, no.
Now you have to serve tough here.
So the Knights are able to get that point. Now we'll see if Gwynn can serve and get another point to keep the Knights alive.
It was a good serve.
It is
and a block.
24-19. So 2 points in a row here for the Knights. Knights trying to climb that hill down by 5 after they were down by 7. Gwynn serving. Here's Allred. They go to Kelly. It is blocked by the Knights. It is blocked by Evans and Felkins. And it's 24-20.
Now.
And it's a 3-0 run here by the Knights.
I'm just a little surprised by both teams when they call their timeouts. This would be a good time to stop the momentum of the Knights.
Maybe after this next point, if we have a Knights point here coming up. With Gwynn serving, it's 24-20. 3 straight points by the Knights. Still match point. Kelly tips it. Allred saves it. Back across for Southern Virginia. Kelly again. Now Allred got the point to go. Now we'll see if St. Mary's will take a timeout.
You kind of, yeah. Oh, they're not going to take a timeout.
24-21, that is 4 points.
I don't know if they have one.
4 straight points. Yeah, I think they still have 2 timeouts left.
Too easy a serve.
Tipped. It is Beatty setting up Allred. Blocked by the Seahawks. Allred will try again. And got it over. 24-22. That is 5 straight points by the Knights.
I can't remember just by memory if they have a timeout, and I can't tell by the scoreboard.
I believe they got 2 timeouts left. Not taking them, though. Gwynn serves it over. Here's Kelly. Blocked again by the Knights. Now a timeout is taken.
Interesting.
Well, with 2 timeouts, maybe the coach for St. Mary's wanted to save one in case we went beyond 25, Tom. But boy, that's 6 straight points, 6 straight match points that the Knights were able to hang on before the timeout came.
You could be right, but I'm not sure that I would have chosen to do that when you're that far up to wait that much momentum with a team. You got to do something.
I was thinking 24-19, certainly 24-20, if nothing else, just to try to break up the momentum for the Knights.
Exactly. You just got to stop momentum, whatever you can do. At 2 timeouts, you tie your shoe. I've seen players when the attention's not on them, they undo their shoe and then, hey, referee, I got to tie my shoe. Whatever you can do to slow the momentum down if you're the team down, and you hurry and get the ball to the server if you're the team that's ahead. But the timeouts, of course, that's what a coach can do, and I'm just a little surprised with both teams.
So the Knights have survived so far 6 match points, and they need to survive a 7th match point coming up right here with Gwynn serving. 24-23. Gwynn's service. St. Mary's gets it over. Here's Allred. She got the point to go.
What a comeback.
24-24.
Now the pressure actually is on St. Mary's.
No doubt about it. They just don't really have any dependable kills going on right now. It's 24-24. Gwynn's service. Here is Kelly. Tips it over and got the point. No, they're going to say saved by the Knights. And Gwynn couldn't get on over. It's 25-24. And again, a match point coming up here for St. Mary's.
The Knights, I'm surprised that the Knights didn't just pick up that tip a little bit easier. The tendency is, you're nervous of St. Mary's. You got to be aware of the tip and get that a little easier.
25-24, match point. Allred,
what a great play.
To go. Tied at 25.
You can just feel how much momentum the Knights have right now.
Knights have survived, by my count, 8 match points now. Hosier serving. Back the other way. Beatty for Allred. Pushes it down the line for the point.
Not a great set, and she was able to tip it just because she's so smart. She's a very experienced player, Allred is, and she was able to tip it down the line because the St. Mary's is playing a man-up, they call it. They're playing up for the tip, so somebody has to be out of position in the back, and she could see that and threw it down the line for a kill.
And so the Knights, having survived 8 match points here in the third set, now have a match point of their own.
That's incredible. I imagine both teams would think, oh, if they look on film, oh, I want that timeout back. But the Knights able to come back after that. So maybe they know more than I do with the timeouts.
And Allred has been unstoppable in the last few minutes.
Yeah, if she stays, well, let's see where she is in the rotation. Is she... she's middle, so she'll be there probably to finish the game here. She's middle front. I would almost set every single one. Let's don't set to someone else right now. You're the hot player. Let's stop me. That's what you got to say.
So it is 26-25. Hosier will serve match point here for the Knights, or actually set point.
Let's see what kind of pass St. Mary's gets now.
Set point for the Knights. And a miss hit by St. Mary's out of bounds, 27-25. The Knights come all the way back from trailing 24-17 to come back for a 27-25 victory. So how about that?
That's unbelievable. The coach just walks by. I can see, she sighs. That was a great comeback by the Knights. They'll remember that no matter what. Like, what a wonderful comeback against a team that was playing very, very well.
Yeah, it was a 10-1 run. The Knights were trailing in that third set, 24-17. They survived 8 match points to get to a set point that they were able to claim for the victory, 27-25, and they keep this match going. Now it is 2-1 ahead for St. Mary's, and the Knights will have to win the 4th set here to keep this going. But what a heck of a third set.
That's one that if you're going to watch film, I want to watch that one again. And as a team, you want to see, well, what got us back there? And that's what we do every single time. Get that same feeling now. That's important for this next game. Don't let St. Mary's come back. If you're the Knights, you say, look what we just did. And look what we can do. You got to keep that same feeling, same momentum. Let's don't make our own errors because the pressure now is on St. Mary's. They're actually out of system. You saw the last passes, how they passed. Again, however, momentum in volleyball is pretty strange. It can go back and forth. But the Knights right now have the momentum.
And the tendency, I would imagine, for St. Mary's, the human thing would maybe even at least the first few points of set 4 is to maybe think about how that set 3 got away from you. But I'm sure the coach is in the huddle right now telling them, focus on set 4, not worry about set 3.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, if you're the coach, you might say to your team, look, I'm sorry, that is even my fault. You might even say, look, we're that much better than these guys. That was just kind of lucky. Come on, we got to win this game now.
And it's still baffling that at 24-17, they don't take the timeout until it's 24-23.
Yeah, again, the timeouts. If the Knights win this game, I'm sure that St. Mary's is going to look at that and say, oh,
although maybe Allred was simply unstoppable no matter when they used their timeouts.
Yeah, what a time to come on, of course. Whoever's watching this, by streaming, take a look at that again. That's a fun set to watch. What a great comeback.
Great comeback no matter what happens, but I'm sure the Knights would like to build upon that comeback and come all the way back in the match.
Yeah, now that's the hard part. When you make a comeback that long in a game, sometimes the tendency is to relax just a little bit. You've got to keep the same momentum, the same energy, the same emotion that got you there. And let's see what it looks like. The Knights are going to start out in rotation 1, or we could call it rotation 3, actually, where Beatty's up or in the back row setting. And so they've rotated around 3 times from where they started the match, and it seems to have worked a little bit better.
So here we go, set number 4. Knights winning set 3, 27-25 after they lost the first 2 sets, 25-16 and 25-18. Remember that we've got football coming up tomorrow, 1 o'clock, against William Patterson, Southern Virginia's homecoming game. That'll be webcast. The volleyball game at 5 o'clock will not be webcast against Marymount. Knights trying to win this first point. of set 4. Kelly back across and out of bounds by St. Mary's.
Sometimes when the ball gets real high in the air and you're trying to hit that overset, it is a little bit hard if it's up high in the air like that.
Knights lead 1-0 here in the 4th set. And a point there for the Seahawks. That was Morris with the kill.
You know, for St. Mary's, I haven't thought of using Allie Graff's name for a while. So she's been silent for a while. Number 14. She needs to get back into the match for them and hit hard.
Good kill shot there by the Knights. And that was Morgan Starkey, the 6-foot freshman from American Fork, Utah. And she puts her team on top now 2-1.
So the Knights did start in rotation 1. It was just a different setter, Beatty.
Good serve by Glenn, 3-1.
It had been Crockett for quite a few matches now, but Beatty is starting in that particular rotation 1. Interesting switch.
3-1 Knights on top here in the 4th set, trying to force a 5th set. Tipped at a point. Nope, they saved it apparently. Allred with a good tip.
I think she should have swung at that ball.
Beatty to Allred. Pushes it down the line. Back across it goes. And Felkins shot a little too far. 3-2.
Felkins, a freshman, has the ability to go on runs and hit hard, but she also, because she's so young, she can hit the ball out of bounds every once in a while as well.
That was Starkey trying to get the kill. Kelly with a good shot down the line. Allred gets it across. Allred with the little tip at the net.
Well, that's too bad. The Knights into the net and not on a play that no one was swinging. It was a free ball, but she just kind of, her shirt almost hit the net.
And it's 3-3 now. So the Knights had a 3-1 lead. Now it's 3-3. Blocked by Allred. Back across by St. Mary's. Beatty will set up Felkins, and it's out. 4-3. Seahawks take the lead back by 1. Beatty going to set up Allred this time. No stopping that. It's 4-4.
Combination plays, I don't think have been stopped. And with Allred on fire, they went to 3 or 4 sets to someone else, and then finally Allred on a combination play, just boom.
Yeah, you get her in the right position, and she's basically unstoppable. All tied at 4 here in the 4th set. And that time, Beatty couldn't return it. It's 5-4 St. Mary's.
Yeah, good swing.
Carissa Hill serving for the Seahawks. They're on top 5-4. Beatty setting up Allred. Blocked by the Seahawks. Back across. Allred again. A little tip shot goes. And that is Allie Graff making the play to make it 6-4 Seahawks. Hill serving again for St. Mary's, and that's a service error. 6-5. Beatty and Felkins will check out. Crockett back in. She'll serve.
Yeah. So Beatty started in rotation 1 when it was Crockett, and now Crockett is back in rotation 4, we could call it.
Crockett got the dig that time. Gwynn back across. 6-5 is your score. Teagues will knock it over. St. Mary's setting up on their left side. Now Teagues. Dug out by Hill. Oh, great tip shot there by St. Mary's. That was Graff again. And she puts her team on top now, 7-5.
Two players going for the tip for the Knights just kind of ran into each other.
Megan Griffiths serving for St. Mary's. Here's Gwynn. And her shot is out. 8-5 Seahawks.
Now Gwynn has had some success in the front row, but she's been set in the back row several times. She just needs to keep that ball in.
Griffiths will serve again. Long serve. Tiggs is blocked, and St. Mary's has jumped out to a 9-5 lead, and a timeout will be taken by Southern Virginia as their coaching staff, namely head coach Nicole Gwynn, doesn't want to let this 4-point lead get out of hand right now here in set number 4.
Pretty good timeout, I think. You have to stop momentum at this point. You can't wait till the end of the game like they did last set.
And the Knights are trailing here 9-5. They were unable to come back in set 1 and set 2. They're losing those 2 sets, 25-16, 25-18. They were able to make that comeback in set 3, 27-25 to force this 4th set. Reminder about the new launch of Southern Virginia University's new official gear website. It's gear.svu.edu, is the newest and best source for all official Southern Virginia University gear. All orders are shipped within 24 hours guaranteed. Number of items available, including casual wear, office supplies, hunting, infant clothing, tailgating equipment. You name it, they've got it. It's gear.svu.edu.
This particular rotation, we could call this rotation 1 as well, as when the setter's in the right back. We have Teagues is on the left side. Now she's a lefty. That's a little bit harder when she's hitting on the left side.
And somehow St. Mary's got it back across when it looked like the Knights had the point. That shot by Tiggs is blocked and out of bounds, and Tiggs will get the kill to make it 9-6.
Sometimes teams stack that particular rotation 1. Hit on the left.
There is Gwynn. She got it, 9-7.
That's her strength, is jumping toward the ball. She has good jumping, broad jumping ability in particular.
All red service. Knights trail by 2. They were down by 4 just a second ago. Blocked that time by the Knights. Tipped across. Hosier steps in, sets it up. Over to Tiggs, blocked. And the point will go to St. Mary's.
Teague's just hitting very low to the net right now, not hitting it very high. She just needs to swing a little bit higher and get her timing down, get a bigger approach. When you get to this point of the match, sometimes you're swinging a little bit lower.
A little fatigue setting in?
It can be.
10-7. Miss hit on the set by Crockett. A little too close to the net for Gwynn to dig it, and it's now 11-7 St. Mary's.
Tried a combination play, but when you set the second person or the person coming around, we can call it, if you set it tight to the net, it's really hard to get to.
Gwynn's attempt at a kill is returned by St. Mary's, and St. Mary's gets the point. Suddenly, the Seahawks have a 5-point lead.
Momentum switch. That's the first time that Graff now for St. Mary's was able to swing at a low set on the outside.
Yeah, Graff will serve here with a 5-point lead. Comes to Gwynn. And a point for the Knights.
Very nice swing by Gwynn.
It is 12-8. The Knights back to within 4.
If you're a coach, you just say to that particular player, just hit that over and over and over again. Don't do anything different.
Evans will serve. A soft serve there. Some confusion by the Seahawks. On the return, no one went for it. It's 12-9. Evans serves again. Another short serve.
Good serve.
And a point for the Seahawks. They went down the right line. Nobody there for Southern Virginia. It's 13-9 now.
I think that was number 14, Graff, once again. She's very athletic, even though she's not very tall. She hit that wrist away, meaning she hit it back against where her momentum was taking her, or turned it away from her body. What a nice shot.
13-9. Tiggs got the shot to go. Good kill by Tiggs. Allison Tiggs, the 5'11 sophomore from Eagle, Idaho, puts her team within 3 at 13-10 now.
Yeah, even on that shot, you could tell that Teague, she even hit the net with the ball. It just rolled into the back row for a kill. She
Beatty
needs to
Felkins
swing higher.
Checking back in. Beatty serving. Blocked by the Knights, and they get the point. Gwynn was there along with Starkey. It's 13-11.
It's kind of fun to point out that the Knights have a swing block system where they don't just stand there and jump or reach up with their hands and jump and block. They swing with their hands down low and get up in the air to block.
Kelly is blocked by the Knights. Brought across by the Seahawks. Here is Starkey. She is blocked. Put back across down the line. Point goes to Southern Virginia as the attempt by the Seahawks to go down the line went out of bounds. It's 13-12, and the Knights are on a 3-0 run here in set number 4.
Here come the Knights.
Beatty serving. No one there. A little confusion again. Kelly, I think that set was for her, but instead she let it go to Griffiths, who couldn't reach it, and now it's 13-13.
So this is how they started the game. The rotation, actually it's rotation 4 for the Knights. They had good success in this rotation.
And there is Graff. Well, you talked about how the Seahawks just keep getting it done, and that might have been Morris actually making the play to make it 14-13, but it does give the Seahawks the lead back here at 1, 14-13 with Dangler in now to serve. Beatty setting up all red. Kelly, win right there. Beatty over to Felkins, tips it over. Hard shot by Starkey, brought back by the Seahawks, and it's towards the net, and it's going to be a point for the Seahawks.
Good play by both teams. Just
15-13. And Dangler serving again. Beatty
good
to
save.
Gwynn. Oh, what a heck of a return by the Seahawks when Gwynn looked like she had her kill shot going for sure. And there is Starkey with the kill. 15-14.
Boy, the Knights have made a big improvement in the last while in their middle hitting. Both middle hitters being able to swing at the ball a little bit more free, and they actually hit it away from the setter a little bit more than right next to the setter.
Here's Kelly for St. Mary's getting it over. 15-14. Allred will tip it. Back to the right. Now over to Felker. Oh, what a great shot by Felker. And the point goes to the Knights. She found a little opening on the St. Mary's side of the court.
It's hard to defend against mishits. That ball was set to the right side of the court, but to a right-handed hitter, and it's awkward sometimes when you do that. So it was a mishit, but it ended up well.
15-15. And another point for the Knights on the Gwynn serve. And the Knights have taken the lead here in set number 4, 16-15. And a timeout is taken by St. Mary's. What a tremendous comeback this would be here in set 4 after a great comeback in set 3. They were trailing. The Knights were in set 3, 24-17. Came all the way back for a 27-25 victory. They were trailing here in set 4 again by 4 or 5 points, and they have come back to take a 1-point lead.
I'm always amazed by the momentum switches in volleyball. If the Knights, if they can just stay even not even be better than St. Mary's with the ball control, the serving, and the passing. I think the Knights have a really good chance of coming back to win the match.
And naturally, anything could happen in a fifth set, but the way the Knights are making this comeback, you would think if nothing else, going into that fifth set, they would have a lot of momentum on their side.
Yeah, at home, a home court advantage is a big deal, especially in the fifth game.
Reminder about football tomorrow. William Patterson is the opponent. Southern Virginia's homecoming game against William Patterson. Kickoff is set for 1 o'clock. We'll have that webcast for you. We will not webcast the volleyball game tomorrow against Marymount, which is scheduled to start here at the Knights Sports Arena at 5 o'clock on Saturday. Gwynn serving. Knights on top here, 16-15. Knights trying to force a fifth set. Kelly got it over. Blocked by the Knights. Blocked by Starkey, I believe, or was that Evans? Oh, it was Starkey.
Yep.
And Allred with the kill. Great
Good
save there by
digs on
Beatty.
both sides.
Kelly again. Tips it down the line. Gwynn right there to save it. Beatty must have gone into the net. And the point goes to the Seahawks. I know it was going to be close. It looked like she was able to get to that ball without touching.
Yeah, I think the referee almost was just going to blow the whistle no matter what. It was a close call.
16-16, so we're all even here in the fourth set. Turned out to be a fantastic match, even though the Knights trailed at one point 2-0 in sets. Now it's 2-1 in sets. Tipped across by Starkey. Beatty with a miss hit, and the point goes to the Seahawks, and now the Seahawks on a 2-0 run have taken a 17-16 lead after they trailed 16-15. And a service error by the Seahawks. Haven't seen a whole lot of those today by St. Mary's, but it ties the game at 17.
Yep. Miss serves. Yeah, that's true. Not a lot of miss serves by them.
Hosier into the game to serve. Oh, another miscommunication by St. Mary's gives the point to the Knights, 18-17. Unlike the first two sets when the Seahawks were not making too many mistakes, they have made a lot of mistakes here in sets 3 and 4.
Yeah. That's a good serve. Oh, should have.
And good placement there by Graff to make it 18-18.
Yeah, good play by Graff, but it looked like something that the Knights should have been able to pick up fairly easy.
Here is Carissa Hill serving for the Seahawks. 18-18 here in set number 4. Beatty sets up Allred. Down the line for the point. Here comes Crockett and Tiggs back into the game.
You know, when someone hits a ball that hard, even though it's only 1 point, when everybody gets into it and celebrates, that can be a momentum switch as well.
Here's Crockett serving. Miss hit there by St. Mary's. They got it back across. And the Knights with a mistake. 19-19.
You know, the Knights have their setters playing up, not way up for a tip and not way back to dig. And sometimes when the ball goes in that area, I like to call that no man's land. You either got to go for a tip or dig, it seems like. Sometimes you get caught right in between.
All important point here. Tipped over. Here's Tiggs. Blocked. And a successful block by the Seahawks puts St. Mary's back on top now at 20-19.
Yeah, Tiggs hasn't had a lot of success in the last little while, and then you have Allred there. Probably ought to go to Allred, but here's the rotation one where Tiggs is on the left side of the court. It's a little bit harder.
They'll go instead to Evans. And she got it to go.
Yeah, she snuck it through the block.
That might have been just really good power right there.
Yeah, when you don't reach across the net while you're blocking, the ball can go in front of you a lot. And that time they pinned the ball almost on the net, and the Knights got the point.
20-20. Tipped down the line. Allred right there to save it.
Oh, good save.
And back across for the Knights. Gwynn, blocked. Blocked by the Seahawks, and they'll get that point to take a 21-20 lead. That was just a heck of a block by St. Mary's.
Yes, it was. Both teams actually made some really good plays. You can't be too discouraged, even if you lose that point. Both teams.
Great match tonight. Knights coming from 2 sets down to make it 2-1 here in this 4th set, trying to stay alive. Here's Gwynn. St. Mary's goes for the kill and gets it with Allie Graff to make it 22-20. And now suddenly St. Mary's inching its way to 25, and the Knights will take a timeout.
Yeah, Ellie Graff, that's the second. Now Ellie Graff is in the front row, and they were able, again, that time to set her a low set. The Knights not being able to block Ellie Graff on a very low set. When it's a higher set, when they're scrambling, the Graff is not quite as good, so they just have to keep him out of system. But Graff is in the front row. If St. Mary's is able to pass the ball to the setter, I bet you they go to Graff again, and the Knights ought to be aware of just sending their middle blocker shade toward that side where Graff is so that they can get up a block.
Question becomes, like it was when the Seahawks led the 3rd set 24-17, can St. Mary's put the Knights away? Right now the Seahawks need 3 more points to claim the match.
Yeah, the Knights again in a tough position. They've used their second timeout, I think. So they can't stop it by using a timeout. They can't stop momentum. They have to do it right here.
And Graff will serve. Mimi Graff is serving here for St. Mary's.
Easy serve.
But Gwynn.
Oh,
no stopping that. Gwynn with the kill to bring the Knights back to within 1 at 22-21. Evans will serve here for Southern Virginia.
That was a very tight set, and Gwynn just made a really athletic play to go get that ball. What a good play.
Let's see who the Knights set up here. Allred pushes it across. Over to Gwynn, little tip. Back towards Gwynn's area, and it's going to be a point for the Seahawks as the Seahawks were able to spot on the Knights side, the back left corner, and they found the opening.
Yeah, when you give someone a free ball, some people are out of position at times. If someone's out of position, you can just throw it over in one contact and catch them off guard.
23-21. Here's Gwynn again. Unstoppable. 23-22. Knights within 1 as Beatty and Felker will check back in. Felkins back in. Alexandria Felkins, the freshman, joined by Beatty. Beatty will serve. It's 23-22.
At the end, it's a good saying to go with dance with the person that you brought, or go whatever that is. So Gwynn's on fire. They should set Gwynn probably for the last few points here.
It is Beatty serving, 23-22. They go to Kelly, blocked by the Knights.
Good block.
Blocked again. And we are tied at 23.
You know, it's been a little while since the Knights got a block, but this whole match has, the block has really been, a lot of times block doesn't matter, but tonight it has.
Beatty serving. Here's Kelly with the tip.
Be ready, be ready.
Beatty can't save it. It's 24-23, and we will have a match point coming up here for St. Mary's. St. Mary's had 8 match points in set number 3, not able to get the job done. Now they'll try to win the set and win the match with this point.
Probably going to Gwynn.
And it's going to be Gwynn.
Oh, no.
They call it out. They call it out. Oh, that was close, Tom.
That was very close. Match point, hit it out. Too bad.
What
great
a great
match, though.
It was a great match. 25-23 in that 4th set. So to recap, St. Mary's wins it 3-1, wins the match, 25-16 in the first set, 25-18 in the second set. Southern Virginia came from 7 points down in that third set, Tom. They were trailing 24-17. They won that third set 27-25, and a very tight fourth set that was eventually won by St. Mary's 25-23. So St. Mary's now improves to 4-2 in the conference and 19-9 overall in the season, while the Knights dropped to 2-4 in the conference and 6-13 on the season, and that was a big win for St. Mary's.
Now, those who are watching this, take a look if you can replay that and watch that last point. I thought the ball was in myself, but the referee made the call from pretty far away, and I'm not sure that that's the correct call.
And you wonder if it had been called the other way, obviously 24-24,
yeah.
and maybe it's still going.
Oh, that's too bad. But, I mean, it happens, but shouldn't happen on match point. That's too bad. And I could be wrong as well. But you would get your money's worth if you just watched the last two sets. What last two sets were
what a
just
heck
wonderful.
of a comeback in the third set. The Knights were trailing 24-17. They came all the way back with a 10-1 run. They win 27-25. So it was a heck of a comeback by the Knights in set 3, and they hung right in there in set 4. You would have loved to see in set 5 to see how this match might have turned out differently.
Absolutely. Both teams, though, played very well. And St. Mary's, give them credit.
Yep.
They were able to play well at the right times, the very right times, and consistent for the first two games. And you could point to that saying, well, the first two games, maybe that's the match because they played so well. It's so hard to come back from two games.
Well, big picture now, as we mentioned, St. Mary's is, instead of being tied with St. Mary's, now the Knights trail St. Mary's by 2 games in the conference standings, as the Knights slipped to 2-4 and St. Mary's improves to 4-2. Now, as we mentioned going into this match tonight, this was not a do-or-die situation, but now this loss to St. Mary's really places the Knights behind the 8 ball, and they're going to have to certainly, I think, win tomorrow against Marymount on Saturday.
They have to win. At least that's what I think. They have to win 2 more matches. They have a good shot of one of the matches, and they need to pick up one more besides that now.
So again, St. Mary is able to hang on to win this match tonight, 3-1. As again, to recap, St. Mary's wins the opening 2 sets, 25-16, 25-18. The Knights win the third set, 27-25, and St. Mary's wins the match by winning the fourth set, 25-23. Tough loss tonight for the Knights, but the women's volleyball team will be back in action on Saturday, again taking on Marymount tomorrow at 5 o'clock. We will not webcast that tomorrow on Saturday, but we will webcast the football game tomorrow at 1 o'clock as the Knights football team takes on William Patterson. So again, join us for Knights football on Saturday. That'll wrap things up here from the Knights Sports Arena. For Tom, Josh, and all of our production staff here at Southern Virginia University, thanks again for joining us tonight for women's volleyball, and have a great evening, everyone.